All right, we want to go now to a story that we've been covering for quite a while now. Actually, one of our regular guests, Alex Jones, has been covering it for more than 5 years. I'm talking about the Bilderberg conference, the meeting of bankers and billionaires kept secret, totally secret for years. Then sort of under the radar, and now it's a little more well-known. There are actually mainstream publications that have been writing about this. You see Politico, Salon, Huffington Post, The Guardian. They've now been writing about some of these headlines that it does actually exist. And we have someone on the ground there as well. So let's go to RT correspondent Abby Martin. She is live in Chantilly, Virginia, outside of the hotel where the conference is being held. Abby, I see you've got your umbrella now. I guess the rain is back. Talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing today on this day. Have the bankers and the billionaires, have they arrived already?
Well, yeah, there was actually someone saw Kissinger himself yesterday arrive. There have been people arriving all day. There's footage of multiple politicians online already, catching them in the act, coming into the conference. It's severe thunderstorms right now, so it's a little bit intense out here. It's kind of pushed some of the protesters back. But RT is out here on the ground, like we are at all these places. The mainstream media is nowhere to be found, though, however, but we are still here reporting. There were hundreds of people here earlier. A couple of them have dispersed right now, but there's expected to be hundreds, if not thousands, tomorrow as it becomes more sunny and the weather turns better.
So there's no sign of any sort of mainstream media outlets there?
No, none.
Why do you think that is?
Absolutely none. Well, you know, when there's corporate media moguls who are actually involved in the conference and they're supposedly sworn to secrecy, we have reported quotes from Rockefeller himself, which is on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group, saying that these media moguls who they hand select every year to come to the conference, they don't want them to be, they want them to be discretionary with this information. And, you know, the corporate CEOs of these media corporations are intricately involved with policy that's being planned and with these, the people who are colluding together. So that's what people are out here protesting about. 140 of the world's most elite royalty, politicians, banking, defense, all together in Chantilly, Virginia, right now in the Westfield Marriott behind me. Yet you do not see the corporate press here covering it. Why is that? I mean, you just have to ask yourself, why is that?
You know what, Abby, break down for us a little bit of what you know, what you can tell us about Bilderberg. I know it's not in Chantilly every year. It sort of switches locations. You know, just kind of give us the nuts and bolts, how long this has been going on and sort of the evolution that it's taken on over the years in terms of coming out of the shadows.
Sure. Well, it started in 1954 at Hotel Bilderberg in the Netherlands. And ever since then, annually, every year, 140 of the world's most elite people in all these industries have been meeting in different locations around the world. And that's why it's so hard to follow them. It's very secret, very under wraps, behind closed doors. And just recently, I mean, as you said in your intro, just recently this year, we see corporate media establishments at least putting it in the headlines saying that this exists. I mean, before, you didn't even hear a peep about it even existing. We hear NATO going on, G8, all these world summits of all these leaders, yet the Bilderberg Group is completely under the wraps. And so that's why people have been following them every year, citizen journalism, people like Jim Tucker, Alex Jones, other citizen journalists who've been following these people and chasing them down all around the world to try to find out what really goes on in these meetings and why is it so secret.
And why is it that there are protesters out there, Abby? I mean, I know there were a bunch out there yesterday. We spoke to you earlier. You said there's even been arrests. Why do people care that this secret meeting goes on?
I think people care because it's policy that's being planned that affects the rest of the world. I mean, every year that this happens, there's policy that happens after that people speculate, was this planned in the Bilderberg meeting? I mean, we saw in 2008 when the Bilderberg meeting was here at Chantilly last time, Obama skirted his press corps away in a different plane, met with Hillary at an undisclosed meeting all weekend in Virginia. I mean, and then you saw her in a high-level cabinet position in his government. Also speculated John Edwards was picked to be the VP running mate in 2004 at Bilderberg. North American Union, the Euro, all these different elements of policy people have speculated have come out of the Bilderberg meetings. 130 of the world's most powerful people don't just get together to just talk about sports and whatever else and American Idol. I mean, they're getting here together to talk about policy that's going to affect the world. And also, protesters are here mainly protesting what they call is a violation of federal law. It's something called the Logan Act, where foreign diplomats are not supposed to get together with politicians to collude about without congressional oversight. And that's really, I think, the main crux of why people are upset. Because there are politicians meeting with foreign diplomats talking about who knows what, we don't know.
But as far as, you know,
we're not privy to the information out.
As far as choosing, you know, vice presidential candidates and, you know, like who's going to be on whose cabinet, where do some of those protesters think that this should be happening? I mean, it doesn't, there's no law that says it needs to happen, you know, in the Capitol building. You know, I'm sure it happens at fancy restaurants as well. But what's really wrong with some of these decisions being made there?
Well, Christine, I think it goes beyond just talking about, you know, like a boys club, like, oh, you know, I want you to be my running mate this year. I think it goes beyond that, because when you look at Rockefeller's memoir, he says, you know, and he's on the steering committee of the Bilderberg group that picks these people every year. They're the shining stars of the elite that they've handpicked to come to these meetings, and they're different every year. But what he said was that if people accuse him and his family of running a secret cabal against the American interests, then he stands guilty and he's proud of it. I mean, so you have to look at quotes like that from the people who are actually in the steering committee of this group and ask, so what else is going on? It's not just VP running mates. It's not just politicians talking about, hey, you know, maybe you can have a seat at my cabinet. It's actual policy that they say, the protesters here say, subjugates humanity. Talking about how to control Occupy Wall Street, talking about how to control the Arab Spring, talking about one world currency, a one world government. These are the things that are really important that they say is being talked about right here behind closed doors.
Well, Abby, we sure do appreciate you standing in the rain for us, kind of sniffing out what's going on, talking to the protesters. It's good that finally some media are giving this attention, if nothing else, acknowledging, hey, this is actually happening, even if we can't get inside. Abby Martin, RT correspondent there for us in Chantilly, Virginia.